Ben, I regret that we did not do this movie back in 2012. We didn't have a podcast yet. But I feel like if we had a podcast back in 2012 and we did this movie, Dredd, back then, this is what I would have said to open the episode. Okay. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Hey, there's something to dread about 2012, and it ain't Carl Urban. It's that damn Hawaiian calendar. They made up a calendar and said ain't no need to make one past 2012. We ain't gonna need no more calendars.
Damn, that would have been a great opener. You're right.
It would have, God, it would have killed.
Damn, dude. People would have been dying talking about that calendar.
Oh, man. And also a little bit trepidatious. Like, well, maybe the world will end.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Damn it. Damn, we missed the boat, didn't we?
You know what? Maybe world did end, and we just didn't even notice.
We didn't even notice, huh? Lord have mercy. Here we are. Left behind. Kirk Cameron.
Left behind. Kirk Cameron style.
Yep. Damn. On the newest installment of Dead and Lovely, the podcast you're listening to with the host with the most, me, your good buddy, Uncle Ben.
And me, Hollywood Steve.
And on today's episode of the show, we're going to be talking about Dredd from 2012.
That's him.
Dredd, that's right. This is a Patreon pick, right?
Yeah. Miles threw this in. Shout out to Miles. Awesome fella. And awesome taste. This has been in the bowl off and on. I think he's changed this submission a few times, but this has been in the bowl off and on for quite a while. And glad it came up, because this is one that when I watched it, I was very impressed. And then found out when we did Annihilation that it's an Alex Garland movie, essentially. Yeah. And I was like, oh, more interesting. So I'm very glad we got to talk about this one. And
hey, man, it's the end of the year. Everybody's taking down the Garland. We're bringing the Garland back up, baby.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
Give it up there.
And with it being the end of the year, that means we're also going to give you guys a year-end horror movie roundup in the Preview Palace after we shoot the shit and do all kinds of other fun stuff. If you guys want to get straight onto the movie review, there's a timestamp for you in the podcast description.
That's right.
But get them damn socks and shoes off. It's the end of the year. It's time to relax and circle back to your business on January. But for now, let's just relax. Let's settle in. Let's let the Christmas aftermath take you down a peg or two. And let's just have a little chit-chat. Let's have a talk and a chin wag. How about it?
Well, you get down your fiddle and you get down your bowl, kick off your shoes and you throw them on the floor. Dance in the kitchen till the Friday night. Wait, I got that a little mixed up.
Daddy sang bass, Mama touched my wiener. Oh, is that the lyrics? Oh.
Yeah, I think you had that off a little.
Okay, all right. I'll look it up later. Well, we're recording this the week before Christmas. It's coming up. It's coming in real fast, man, and things are accelerating over here at the Petler Inn. Things have been very busy, and it's going to get a little bit more busier, but 'tis the season for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's time people get together, right? So yeah, there's going to be a little bit of hecticness going on. I also am dealing with a move at the end of next month, and trying to find an apartment for us to move to.
I advise finding the place first before you move.
You know what? It's a good idea, but is it the only way? I mean,
you could pack your whole car up with your belongings and then just drive around being like, anybody got a house?
Yep.
Anybody?
Yep. Because a car will do it.
Yeah, and Southern Charm goes a long way, especially there in Yankeeville, Portland.
Listen, I'll tell you what, I bet there are certain areas of Oregon that Southern Charm would really get us a house, but we don't want to live there.
Okay, all right.
No.
Well, maybe not then. Maybe not then. Yeah. Well, hopefully you find you a place before you move to it. That would be my advice.
Will. Yeah, that's the plan. We will.
You been doing any movie watching in amongst all this busyness you've been doing?
Yeah, so I've been watching a few things. Anna had a birthday. And
Burfus.
Yeah. So for her birthday, we watched whatever she wanted to watch. And that was 3 strange movies. She's been watching a lot of weird movies lately. She's just seeking out the odd, the strange.
I'm interested.
Mm-hmm. And so she chose to watch Holy Motors.
I don't know that one.
Oh, you don't? It's a French movie. Boy, it is weird. Also very impressive. The lead actor is playing so many different roles. And well, I guess it's really one role, but he's playing several. You know what? I don't want to ruin it. Just watch Holy Motors if you want to watch a very strange movie. Yeah. Also watch Sorry to Bother You, which...
Oh, yeah. Man, it's a weird one, dude. That is a strange movie.
Great. Loved it. Just a pro-union, fucking damn the man, fuck the system type of movie, and I love that.
Yeah, very much.
So,
I need to watch it again. The first time that I watched it, I think it was so much more bizarre than what I was anticipating. It affected my enjoyment of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was great. And I guess Holy Motors had set me up for it to be weird, and I knew it was going to be odd, but it was. And, you know, to me, it was, I don't know, it had shades of They Cloned Tyrone. They Cloned Tyrone came after, of course, so that would have probably been influenced by this. But They Cloned Tyrone is a little bit more straightforward, though it's also a very strange one itself. But yeah, it's got some real fucking weirdness, and that like midway twist of Sorry to Bother You is boy.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And then we watched a movie called Forbidden Zone.
I don't know that one either, man.
Okay, it's weird. Check it out.
Forbidden Zone. Is it a horror movie? What is it?
It is. It's an Oingo Boingo movie.
Like literally?
Yeah. It's Danny Elfman's brother directed it. Danny Elfman is in it playing Satan, and the guys from Oingo Boingo are in it. Yeah, it very clearly influenced Nightmare Before Christmas, and I wish I had seen it a week earlier.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah,
it's cool. Hell?
It's cool. I mean, like the overall production quality, you know, it's like, it's avant-garde, I would say, like, because you know, you pretty easily buy into the production quality because the sets are really cool and like the characters are strange and interesting. And it's, yeah, I mean, it's well worth a watch. I think definitely check it out.
Rad.
And then also we on Legacy Brutality just recently did The Hunchback of Notre Dame for a bonus features, a Patreon exclusive episode over there. I don't know if you've ever seen the 1923 Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I have not.
Have you ever seen Lon Chaney and his makeup for that?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, well, it's amazing. It's just full-on transformation. He, he had this, harness where he, hooked his chest to a harness in his crotch so he couldn't stand up fully.
Oh.
Yeah, and he, walked on the insides of his feet with his knees, turned in and stuff, and it's, all physicality, but he's also, the guy is so insanely... strong and has amazing muscle control. He's climbing around and stuff on this enormous set and jumping around and just so much stuff that I saw and was how did he do that?
Yeah, when he's manually crippled himself.
Yeah, and he's also wearing makeup that's obscuring his vision, but doing these he's doing his own stunts. He's doing dangerous...
That's bananas.
Yeah. The man was just an anomaly. And, if he existed today, he would he would be unstoppable. The man would be unstoppable. It
sounds like he really laid down the groundwork for Tom Cruise. Am I right?
I'd say really Buster Keaton really laid that down.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Old stone face, dude.
Yeah. And then on Friday night, on the Screaming Chat, we watched the Joe Bob Christmas telethon thing that he had with showing The Brain, which we've actually watched.
The Brain is awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah, we watched it on the Screaming Chat before, and yeah, it's a fun time. The Brain is so weird.
It's a great piece of shit. Yeah, it's so stupid. I love it.
And then after that, he showed Ginger Dead Man, which is also fun. And then on Sunday night, I subjected us to Christmas, Bloody Christmas. I know some people out there listening are like, I love Christmas, Bloody Christmas. Man, I cannot stand a single character in that movie.
Oh, shit.
The lighting is cool. The central premise is cool. I hate all the characters and want them to die. And if that is the intent of the director, bravo. Because
doesn't make for a fun watch, though.
it's hard for me, man. Seriously, you can tell it's a lot of kind of improv, and the primary improv is to just throw fuck in everywhere. And I don't know, it just feels so much like the hanging out with the worst people you could hang out with on Christmas.
Trying to be edgy, like...
Yeah. It's definitely trying to be edgy. She says Alien Resurrection is the best Alien movie.
Okay, now you're just trying to piss me off.
She says Soundgarden Super Unknown is trash.
Oh, okay, now you are really striking at my core.
Yeah.
I am
this character's the worst.
Offended. Ugh.
Anyway.
Super Unknown is great. That's one of my favorite albums of all time, man. I know everybody loves Bad Motorfinger, but dude, Super Unknown is the fucking one, man.
Yes, agreed. Bad Motorfinger is an amazing album.
Oh, it's great. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking great.
But Super Unknown, what? How can you hate Super Unknown?
4th of July, especially the back half of the record with 4th of July and Limo Wreck and all that shit. God damn. There's more odd time signatures on that record than a fucking Rush album, too. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
So good.
Dude, so I don't want to steer anybody away from Christmas, Bloody Christmas, because this seems to be a divisive film. Some people love it, and some people hate it. So I definitely think the aesthetic is cool as hell. It's largely lit by Christmas lights in most scenes.
That's cool.
That's great. Yeah, it's rad. Yeah. But, it's the second time I watched it, and I was just thinking, like, when I watched this, I hated it, but I didn't remember, like, how much I hated it to the point of not enjoying myself. Anyway, yeah, so that's what we've been watching on. What you been watching on?
Nice, man. Not a ton. We've been pretty busy with a lot of holiday shenanigans and all that, so we just kind of had some of the usual, Christmas movies on, some Elf and stuff like that. We watched the old Muppet Christmas Carol the other day.
Oh, we got to get on that one, yeah.
God damn, man. It doesn't get better. Like, there is not a better version of the Christmas Carol story than that. And fucking, man, Michael Caine. Like, I feel like I talk about it every year, because every year I'll watch this movie and I'm still just blown away by the level of conviction that guy has in the movie. Like, next time that you watch it, Kate really dialed me into this when we were watching it, but like, there's a part, I think it's in the Ghost of Christmas Past scene, where he's like, I know this place. It's Fozziwig's old rubber chicken factory. And he says it with such fucking conviction. And such believability.
A rubber chicken factory would be a sound investment.
And he really just sells the fuck out of all of it. God damn. Infinitely watchable. Still so fucking good. Watch Love Actually, as usual. A movie that is just aging weirder and weirder every year, man.
That's the fun about it, right?
It kind of is,
every time you watch it, you're like, boy, what was going on here? But also, like, I mean, there's still charming characters in there. There's still some people that you like. I like, what's her name? The secretary or whatever to the president.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's like fucking body shamed to hell by everyone on Earth.
She's gorgeous. Yeah,
she's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
and her dad is definitely a fat guy, and he's like, "Oh, plumpy, blah 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 blah."
Well,
Shut
I don't
the fuck
think
up,
he
dude.
means it in a negative way. I mean, I think other people definitely mean it in a negative way. But
man, a bunch of pricks in that movie, dude.
I mean, yeah, there really are.
But I think it's also kind of a sign of, that close after 9/11, we were just so desperate for anything that seemed wholesome and lovey-dovey and sappy. It's like, give me anything, please. And that movie was there for it. But like every year past
that, dark
as
shit.
The spell is like wearing off with every single year. So I was watching it this time, and I was really keying in on Alan Rickman's character, right?
Right.
And he works in that office with Laura Linney and Carl and that secretary of his that he's definitely wanting to bang the whole time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And It's never really talked about like what that office does. It seems like it's some kind of marketing or publishing firm or something. Mm-hmm. I think what they're actually running is it's like a sexual harassment workshop is what he's in charge of. I think his office develops different methods of sexual harassment in the workplace. So first thing that we get is him encouraging Laura Linney to hook up with a coworker. So just encouraging office relationships. You guys should fuck. He basically just tells her.
Shit where you eat, he says.
Yeah, exactly. He says that. Obviously, he is also hot to trot with his secretary, Mia, who is grossly unprofessional.
Yeah, she's really hot, though. So.
Oh, yeah. But then there's also that line where I think he's talking to, it might be Laura Linney or somebody. And they're like talking about planning the office Christmas party. And Alan Rickman is like, the usual, order the guacamole, hire a band, and encourage everyone to stay away from Kevin unless they want the breasts fondled. And it's like, who the fuck is Kevin? Like, Kevin is fondling women in your office. It's a fact. I think he says if they want their breasts unfondled. Like, that line slipped by me a million times. Wow. And I'm like, how much sexual harassment is going on in this fucking office? They're innovators of sexual harassment.
Maybe it's a sexual harassment factory.
That's what they're doing. I'm pretty sure they're cranking it out.
Yeah.
You've always wondered where it comes from. We're importing it from the UK, from Alan Rickman's office.
Wow. Imported. That actually makes it sound a little bit nicer.
Yeah, you know what?
Put a British accent on your sexual harassment. Now it's charming.
Well, could be. It is just a nutty-ass movie, man.
Yeah.
And, of course, watch Die Hard, because fucking
Hell yeah. Great
God,
choice.
what a quality movie, dude. What a fucking high-quality movie. We did that one on the show several years back. Go back and give that one a listen. And one day, maybe we'll do Love Actually. One day.
It is a horror film. I want to go back to, I think when we did Die Hard, I talked about my characters breaking the fifth wall, which is the idea that potentially every character an actor plays is the same person.
Oh, so I love that, yeah.
What if the guy from Love Actually eventually ends up invading Nakatomi Plaza? Like, this is the falling apart that led to that.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I can see that coming together.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just fun that way. So yeah, just kind of continuing my holiday watches. Some of the usual stuff. Bob's Burgers Christmas episodes have been a lifesaver. Always good and holly jolly. Always a good time with those. So that's about it for me, man. But it has been a long year of watching stuff. 2023 style, has it not?
Yes, it has. It has very much been so.
What a question to ask someone.
It was a good one. I liked it.
How about we explore our answers in the Preview Palace?
Welcome to the Preview Palace.
2023 Rap Edition. Rap.
You are up on your 2023 rap styles, obviously.
Yeah, dude. That's totally it. Wap. It's a rap.
Hey!
That's it, right?
Yeah. Big music sting.
So we're going to be talking to you guys about our take on 2023 as a year for horror films. 2022 was a banner year. We had some fucking mashers in the house. So 2023, I went into really stoked, hoping we could carry that momentum. And I said a couple weeks ago on the show, I was like, man, I just don't know that 2023 really had that much good horror stuff. But then as we talked about doing this, and I looked through a list of horror movies that came out in 2023, I realized I'd missed quite a lot. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you came to the realization you missed quite a lot, and I came to the realization that you were absolutely right. That, you may have missed some, and I have a good list here of at least 20 movies I saw this year, and several of them, I'd say, are really, really good.
Yes,
but it's not the same. It's not the level of 2022. It's just not. Right. Yeah.
But there still was some decent stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that came out that I know has been on the top of a lot of people's horror movie lists, and I haven't seen. There was a lot of foreign horror stuff that I did not catch this year.
Yeah, a lot of foreign horror movies, Spanish language, French language horror movies that I just have not gotten around to. But I definitely am interested in. But I watched a good bit of movies this year. Like, we definitely got to the theater a good bit. And I think that, like, there are some that were outstanding to me. Number one being M3gan. Which
Mithrigan.
Yeah, which I see listed as a 2022 movie, but it did one premiere showing in Los Angeles, and it came out January 6th of 2023. So that movie, man, I still love it. Every time I watch it, I am just ecstatic to be watching Megan. I have a Megan t-shirt I wear all over the place. I'm just a huge fan of Megan. Mm-hmm.
I liked it. We did that on the show, I think, sometime over the summer, and I enjoyed it. You liked it more than I did, for sure.
Absolutely,
but it still was like exceeding my expectations. It was beyond what I was expecting out of it. I kind of thought it looked like it was just going to be, 2023's answer to Chucky. But it does something pretty different from that, and I did enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoyed that one too. That was definitely a good one. I'd say for me, the top of the heap is probably Talk to Me. I really enjoyed Talk to Me a lot, man.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was dark. It was very simple in its presentation. Brutal at times, and the ending really fucked me up. Like, that movie sealed the deal for me with the very, very ending, which is interesting because that seems to be a very decisive part of the movie. I know some people are like, man, I loved it until that stupid ending happened, and I'm like, the ending was when I loved the movie.
No,
really?
I thought the ending was terrible, but
shit.
Yes, I think honestly, Talk to Me was one that I enjoyed elements of and thought, this is great, and then other elements I was like, this is literally any Blumhouse horror movie.
Yeah. I can see that.
Which is not a negative. I like Blumhouse horror movies. I know you're not the biggest
time
fan.
and place.
Yeah, but I definitely enjoyed the elements that are really fucking good, which is the scenes where people are bashing their heads against things and whatnot. That's wild. So good. Yeah, I definitely enjoyed it, and I know there's supposed to be a sequel, so I'm interested for sure.
Yeah, I'm wondering where they're going to take that. We both saw a few that we agreed on that were pretty damn cool. Wrath of Becky was fun.
Wrath of Becky, yes. I love the Becky movies and hope they keep making them. I do. I don't want to ruin anything, but I hated the little tag of the end of Wrath of Becky, but I think I could see places they could go that would make it good.
Yeah, it seems to be that they're really indicating this is going to go somewhere else, right?
Yeah, and I hope they do, because they're smart movies, and I believe if they do another one, it'll be smart. So I'm definitely interested. But Wrath of Becky, great time.
Did you see Infinity Pool?
Yes, we did. We I think you guys did a mini-sode, but I think I also went and saw it around the same time. Infinity Pool, man, I love that movie.
That was awesome. Bleak, definitely, man. Fucking bleak movie.
One of those movies that just is trying to expose the depravity of the wealthy, and does a great job.
And the lack of consequence with the law with the wealthy as well.
Yeah. And Mia Goth is awesome in it.
Oh, God, dude.
She's
Man,
just
keep
awesome.
putting her in horror movies, please.
Yes.
There's nothing she's been in where she has underperformed. Everything she does, she goes all the fuck out. I'm so stoked for, Maxine, especially.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I'm so excited for that. Because, 2022 had X and Pearl.
Big year for Mia Goth.
Big year.
Totally Killer. That was really fun.
That was a fun one. Yeah, it's not groundbreaking, but also not irritating in any way. Like, it's not. It seems to wear its homage on its sleeve, which is
much
cool. Paying homage to Happy Death Day so early seems a little bit strange, but I also don't mind it, because we've talked about it with 80s horror movies where it's like, oh, these people are shouting each other out totally. from year to year. It's really not a new thing for that to be happening. So Totally Killer's fun. Another fun one that we did a minisode on and is now streaming, The Blackening.
The Blackening was great, right? I forgot that came out this year, man.
Yeah.
Like we saw a trailer for it, Kate and I did, and we were like, oh man, we got to go see this. Yeah. And man, it didn't disappoint. I thought that movie was fucking hysterical, and I barely know anybody that saw it.
Yeah, not enough people saw it, but people definitely should go check it out. It's streaming. I'm not sure where. I saw it streaming, though, the other day. So go find it and watch it, because it's really funny. Like, I felt like going into it, I was like a little bit worried about how everything was going to play out, but like it settles you in almost immediately to like, this is going to be funny. Yes, it's going to deal with race issues. Yes, it's also going to be funny the entire time. And
it is. That's something I like about that movie. It stays funny the entire runtime. It never gets bogged down in being too super dark, super serious. It stays really fun and keeps you laughing the entire runtime. Yeah, that was a good one. This is a good year for horror comedies too, man. We had Renfield out this year as well, which I loved.
Renfield, we did an episode on it. We both had a fun time with it. Renfield is Nick Cage having a great time. Nicholas Hoult having a great time. Yeah, the whole cast is just enjoying themselves. So like the overall comedy is fun too.
Great gore. Gory.
We were just listening to some ska the other day, and I was just like, seriously, Renfield, what is the ska? I don't get the ska jokes. Don't get it. Like, we all agree ska sucks. No, we don't.
I don't. I do not agree.
Upbeat horns. Pick it up.
Give it to
up.
Me. Sure, I will.
Another fun one that I saw, Slaughterhouse.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You need to check out. Yeah, Slaughterhouse is really funny, and like it's
Killer Sloth movie. Come on.
Yeah, it's just as cheesy and campy as you want it to be, and also just really fun. And has, as I said, whenever I watched it back, probably a couple months ago, has like serious Black Christmas 1974 vibes in a positive way.
Nice.
Yeah,
that sounds pretty good. I need to check that one out.
And another like real fun one that I is funnier, I guess, to me as a viewer than maybe to all the people making the movie, but I feel like Russell Crowe's having a blast in The Pope's Exorcist.
Dude, I keep meaning to watch this one, and
so
it just slips my mind. Knowing that it's stupid makes me want to watch it, because if you're telling me like a movie where Russell Crowe is the Pope's exorcist and it's really serious and gritty, I'll be like, no thanks. But if you're telling me it's stupid, yeah, sure, I'll watch him punch a demon in the mush.
Russell Crowe is a big thick boy like me, and he rides around on a little bitty teeny Vespa, and there's no comment made about it, and it's so fucking funny.
Just nothing. Nobody's noticing.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I need to watch that one, man. That sounds pretty damn fun to me. Suitable Flesh was really fun too.
Yeah,
I
need
that
to see
a
that.
Lot.
Need to see that one for sure. That one's one that's been on my radar, and I keep just intending to watch it and keep forgetting.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy that one, man. We've also had quite a lot of sequel fodder this year as well. Man, we had a Scream 6 in there, didn't we?
I liked Scream 6. As far as the sequels that came out this year, Scream 6 is probably the top. Though I know Anna really liked Saw X and said that it might be the best Saw movie. So
I heard it as pretty good. Like I've not heard a lot of people say that it sucked. I've heard it's like shockingly brutal, right?
Yeah, I heard that too. And also Evil Dead Rise came out this year, which is another sequel that I enjoyed.
I was a little let down.
I know.
I still stick to like my overall review that it's a slightly above average horror movie, a below average Evil Dead movie is how I would sum it up. But it has its merits. It has some good parts.
Yeah, and other sequels that are a little less worth mentioning: The Nun 2, I
heard that
and
stuff,
Insidious, The Red Door, it's just
Pet Cemetery prequel. You watched that, didn't you?
Yeah. Also, that would be a better movie if it wasn't Pet Cemetery movie, and also if they weren't pretending that this is Judd Crandall, the Judd Crandall we know that says like, "Oh, don't go down that road," and this one's like, "Hey, don't go down that road. Forget about it."
Come on.
I'm not kidding. It's seriously like a Tony Soprano impression. It's insane.
The fuck how?
I don't know.
God, that's so stupid, man.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, I loved.
Yeah, I want to see that one so bad.
Thanksgiving. It was so fucking fun. It was like exactly the kind of dumb holiday-related slasher that I wanted to see. Way exceeded expectations. That's probably like that might be in like my top 3 or top 5 of the year. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah. I want to see it as soon as it's streaming.
Yeah.
Another one that I know a lot of people saw this year and really just kind of went away like a fart. It just, that's what it was. Knock at the Cabin was a fart this year.
Yeah. I know everybody a few people said it was okay.
And then forgot about it immediately because that ending was just like,
I haven't seen it yet, man.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I liked so much of it, and then it went wrong, like a lot of Shyamalan stuff does.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it sounds like a Shyamalan feature
but
to me,
not
right?
in like a fun old way. Like, oh god, old is one we gotta do on the show.
Oh my god,
so insane. Like,
it's so bad.
Yeah, it is absolutely, but you can't look away.
No,
whereas like with Knock at the Cabin, by the end I was like, ugh, I don't care. Yeah. Even though Dave Bautista's great in it and Rupert Grint's great in it, and it's got some really great performances. It's just the ending kind of spoils it and ruined it for me. Well, another one though that came out, I guess had its premiere in 22, but actually came out in 2023. Sick. This is like
I didn't see Sick.
This is a COVID era movie. It's set in early pandemic. They're sanitizing everything and whatnot. We still didn't know exactly what to do, and it's a home invasion thing. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was very interesting and enjoyable, and used the pandemic era in an interesting way. Definitely worth a watch.
Sounds cool.
Yeah,
I need to watch that one for sure, man. I can't remember. Did you ever see Last Voyage of the Demeter?
No, but I did see that on several people's top 10s, and I want to check it out. Man,
I think you'd like it. I really do think you'd like it if you checked it out. It really does have a feel of like a piece of literature from that era. It's not a bombastic action film with like romance and intrigue and plot twists and yada yada. It's just like, no, there's people on a boat, there's a vampire killing them. It's pretty brutal. Okay. It's pretty straightforward, man. I really enjoyed it. Especially enjoyed that interpretation of Dracula that was just savage and fucking animalistic. I think you'd dig that one if you watched it, man.
Yeah, and speaking of interpretations of classical monsters, the angry black girl and her monster, which is
I've been meaning to watch that.
Yeah, it's a Frankenstein narrative set, I believe, in North Carolina, in neighborhood North Carolina. This, it definitely like brings the narrative into the tensions of like, police in black areas and stuff like that. Like, it uses the original Frankenstein narrative in an interesting way, but also like I just think that it was like very well like played out. But it's also like, I'm not saying it's like the best movie I saw last year, but it definitely had a lot of creativity to it and was done like they did the best they could with the budget and stuff that they had, and it's really good, I think.
Nice. Yeah, I've been meaning to check that one out. I think it's might be on Shudder or something.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's on Shudder right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely
I need to
check it
see
out.
that one, man. Dude, I think the most confusing one that I saw this year as far as my expectations and what I got, Beau's Afraid is definitely one that has confused me since I saw it. I'd like to know your take on it. I really, really would.
Well, the fact that like everybody seems to be like about it, it's just like I'm not rushing to see it.
And it's 3 fucking hours, man.
Yeah, that is definitely like a hindrance in getting me to sit down and watch it. And yeah, your review of it is definitely one that's like, well, I don't know if I'm gonna spend my time on this anytime soon.
It seems like Ari Aster needed to make that movie to maybe work through some things publicly, I guess.
Okay.
But damn, man, it is so weird. Like, there was stuff in there that was so tense and hilariously over the top, fucked up. And then there was bizarrely funny parts. And then there were parts that just meandered forever. It was such a weird buffet of flavors, man. That's an odd one. Like, I still don't really know what kind of rating I would put on that movie, but it was just not what I was expecting. That's for sure.
Okay. Another one I know a lot of people watched a few months ago, No One Will Save You, which I think is still streaming on Hulu.
I keep hearing love it or leave it on that one.
Yeah. There's creativity to it. There was definitely like some elements that I very much enjoyed. And I think, there's some themes there about like guilt and remorse and things like that are interesting. But I also, I kind of lost my temper with it after a while because it just kept doing kind of the same thing over and over. I at first didn't mind the CGI aliens, but then after a while, they started grating on me. Like, that's kind of how I felt about that movie. Is that after a while, it started grating on me. But definitely check it out yourself to see what you think, because I don't think it's not worth a watch. Like, you definitely should watch it.
Yeah,
I just don't know how you feel about it.
Skinamarink is another one that I didn't see and seems to be hugely divisive with people.
Yeah, and I need to see it. I definitely do. I think that is one, because I know Anna very much enjoyed it, and I like a weird slow burn. So I just gotta get myself in the mindset to watch frames of toys and stuff for a while.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think not long before it came out, I just watched Everyone's Going to the World Fair.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, from last year.
Yeah,
great one.
And it's like a kind of a cheaply made found footagey sort of film that looked like it was kind of dealing with some similarly creepy, somebody just set up a camera and captured stuff kind of vibe. So maybe I just had enough of it on that. But yeah, I still haven't gotten around to watch that one. When Evil Lurks is another one that I know.
Oh yeah, everybody was talking about it a little bit ago, and
man, I've heard it's fucked up.
Yeah, I know. I need to just sit down and watch it. Listen, y'all, it's been busy. I still I thought like, oh man, I haven't watched that many movies this year, and then I sat down and it was well over 20 new movies that I saw this year. So I saw new movies. There's just so many, and that's great. Horror is even in years when we don't have, because 2022 was so great because we had a ton hitting the theaters. 2023 so great, we still have a ton. They're just indie films and foreign films that we haven't gotten around to yet. Like,
I don't want to read a movie. I ain't gonna read.
Another movie that I saw that was fun called Unseen. It's a horror movie about a woman who has she's legally blind. She can kind of see, very fuzzy. And she is trying to escape an abusive boyfriend who's trying to kill her. And
damn! Ooh, that sounds tense.
And she uses her cell phone to dial a number, and it dials to a convenience store in Florida. And this poor anxiety-ridden cashier has to help her in this situation. Oh, God. And yeah, it's wild. It's great. I very much.
That sounds like a stress fest.
It is. It's a thriller, boy. I'll tell you that. Yeah, it'll keep you on the edge of your seat.
Wow, man.
And then also we watched a movie called "There's Something Wrong with the Children," which
I heard about this one too.
Yeah, and I enjoyed it. It's a weird one. It had vibes similar to The Children, which is a British horror movie that was also remade, I think, in 2006, and I very much enjoy the remake. But it's got its own slant to it, and I like evil children narratives when the children, like, when you can't figure out what's going on exactly. Like, are the children evil, or is this all misinterpretation or whatever? I'm very into those type of narratives, so that worked really well for me. But again, I know it's probably not for everybody.
Okay, right on. Yeah. I think the most least good movie that I saw this year was It's a Wonderful Knife. I thought that was such a fucking drag. I haven't watched
that one yet. It's streaming now.
I think that's the worst horror movie that I saw in theaters this year.
Wow.
I really did not enjoy it at all.
Wow. Take that. It's a Wonderful Knife.
Yeah, suck it. I'm doing the DX chop to you right now. Yeah, that was probably the most disappointing thing that I saw.
Well, yeah, for me, the most disappointing thing I saw, I don't know that anything was terrible. The Nun 2 was kind of a slog. That one was tough to sit through in the theater because it really just never got good. But yeah, overall, every movie that I went and saw was pretty palatable. I feel like just not everything was hitting every single time. So it was an okay year. No 2022, but a pretty solid year in horror films.
I think so too, man. I think so too. I was really thinking back on it, and I was just like, man, there wasn't anything good that came out this year. And then I was like, oh yeah, fucking Infinity Pool and Talk to Me and Renfield and some of those ones we discussed. I was like, actually, there was some good stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see what 2024 is like. You know, we're still going to be dealing with fallout from the writer's strike, so I wonder if we're going to have a little, little movie desert there for a while.
A little lull in the beginning. Well, luckily, indie movies didn't stop and foreign movies didn't stop. So just keep an eye out. Keep your ear to the ground for anything that might be coming out because you should always support indie horror, even though we're getting great stuff from bigger outlets all the time. The indie horror is where you keep finding more new creative stuff.
That's right.
And finding the directors, writers, actors, etc. that you're going to want to follow for years to come.
The stars of tomorrow are waiting for you today in the indie movie scene.
We should, indie movie scene, contact us if you want to make an advertisement.
I got some hot promos for you. I'm just saying. 100%. You just heard one off the cuff. Imagine if I practiced. All right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we want to know about your top picks for 2023 over on our Facebook group. That's the place where you can go and hang out with fellow horror fans and ya boys and actually spend some good time on that godforsaken fucking website, fucking Planet Cancer, life-ruining website. Hang out with us on it. It's a lot better if you do. Whole lot better.
Absolutely.
So yeah, let us know what we missed. Maybe we'll cover it on an episode next year or something. But for today, we're going to be talking about one movie, what come out 11 years ago?
Yeah.
It's been waiting on me this whole time.
It's just been sitting there.
Right there waiting for me. It needed Richard Marx. That's the only thing it really lacked.
Yeah, that's
Dick
what it was
Marks.
missing.
Hey, his name is Dick Marks. Richard Marx. Dick Marks.
Wow.
Ew. I gotta go get a fucking doctor to check out my dick marks.
Ooh, God. No.
His dad could have said that, just taking his boy to the doctor. Oh, I gotta go to the doctor, get my dick marks checked out.
Now, I see, it's interesting that you went with the marks being on the dick, and I thought there were marks being made by a dick, and I was like, how large is this dick?
Oh, like they're like dusting the crime scene for fingerprints and they find dick marks?
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a third way of looking at it.
We've identified him by his scrotal print.
I was thinking it was like, hand marks around a throat or whatever, like dick marks. Somehow someone had been like whacked in the face by a dick so hard it left a mark.
See, I imagined it like on a table, like on the surface of a table, like somebody had just flopped it out,
Yeah.
I really hope this is somebody's first episode. They fast-forwarded to the movie talk, and they're just bombarded with talking about dick marks. What the fuck is this show?
It's
0 stars.
It's the best. 5 stars.
I had heard that this was awesome from you, from our buddy Brandon, from so many people, man. I just remember hearing... I should have listened to him. I remember hearing that the Stallone John back in the day was a real pile of shit, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So I think maybe that put me off from seeing this one, is just thinking this is just another stab at trying to make Dredd a thing. Quit trying to make Dredd a thing. Didn't they say that in Mean Girls? I think that's in Mean Girls.
They did.
Yeah. So I was kind of put off from it for a while. I mean, obviously, 11 years I put it off, but here we are. I watched it last night, and dude, I had myself a pretty fucking doggone good time watching it. When did you see it the first time?
Not long after it came out. Because I was interested. I mean, you got a Carl Urban. I like Dredd. I also heard it was like Raid Redemption, kinda.
Yes, very much like the Raid.
That drew me in. So I I watched it and I was like, yeah, rad. Fucking Lena Headey is so good. Carl Urban's so good. Olivia Thirlby. Everybody is just killing it. And Wood Harris, the Kay, the guy they're dragging around the whole time, who plays Avon Barksdale in The Wire, I think is killing it. Like, I think you've got 4 main characters here, and they're all just murdering it. It is awesome.
And the side dish characters are also great too, man.
Really
I
cool.
feel like a little underinformed about if this is really nailing the Dredd thing or not, because I never read the Dredd comics.
Well, let's talk about that. And I'm about to... I got a lot of info by listening to Jack of All Graves episode from about a year ago, from January of this year, 2023, where they talked about Judge Dredd on an episode titled "I Am the Law" with a guy named Michael Mulcher, who is the social media coordinator for the 2000 AD, and has written a book about Dredd, and they talked about Dredd pretty in depth, because I also don't know anything about Dredd, and it largely, like, it's not like I wouldn't have read Dredd comics, because they were talking about them in, like, Wizard magazine in the 90s and stuff, and I had heard about them. They weren't readily available in America.
Yeah. At least not where we were in the South. That wasn't really anything you could much find. But I'm with you. I always remember seeing Dredd all over, like, Wizard magazine, and it looked like very gritty, dark, grimy, futuristic, but also kind of satirical and nasty. But I'm sure even if I could have found it, I wouldn't have been allowed to buy those comics.
Absolutely, right? That your mom would have been like, "Yep, no way."
All that I knew going into it is that it was a dystopian, crime-riddled future where you had these kind of super policemen that were judge, jury, and executioner all in one. Just the entire legal system expedited to one guy with a gun. Which
that sounds foreign.
Which could never happen.
That's no way. That people would just see extrajudicial killings and be like, yeah, well, he broke the law. So
that guy got to murder him.
Right.
Yeah. That's how that works. There's no way that could gain public support, right?
No way. So
people have compassion.
So that is that's what they ended up talking about a good bit is the prescience of the 2000 AD, the Judge Dredd parts of 2000 AD, where they were always kind of seeing the future of a surveillance state and all these things, and we just talked about this with Total Recall about how. Like, these things, these are not people who are seeing into the future. They're seeing the current present and saying, this is what's happening and this is where that goes. Right. And that is, like, Judge Dredd has always been on that wavelength. And so Judge Dredd is really a satire of how just militarized the police force is, and how they can kill with impunity and have public support, etc. And how... in this movie, we're shown very clearly there's not really a difference between the criminals and the judges.
Not really at all.
The fact that there are criminal judges makes the entire system rotten, right? Because, like, even if you're trying to do what is right, like Dredd is, you have people on your own team working against you. Yeah. So... it very much, like, mirrors the actual situation with policing throughout the world. And it's also dealing with the fact that the drug war itself has a real life human toll, and those humans are very often innocents.
Oh, yeah. And there are a lot of casualties in this movie, dude.
Yeah,
we were talking about, like, Total Recall had, like, 77 deaths in it, and we were like, holy shit, that's a lot.
This has 102.
That is a whole lot. That's crazy. One more than the legal number of Dalmatians to have. That's a lot. 102 murders.
It is a sequel of Dalmatians worth.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It really is. That's a lot of casualties, right? And it ain't the bad guys doing all of it.
we really have to then, like, you just brought up Total Recall. It is an absolute, like, I don't know how this happens sometimes, where we just draw something out of the smoking bowl and it relates to the movie we just did or a movie we're about to do. And this is so similar to Total Recall, and there's a reason for that. So Judge Dredd is inspired, the character inspired by Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood as Dirty Harry, and also the look is inspired by a character in Corman's Death Race 2000.
Okay.
So the character is very much exploitation movie, like satirical, like ultra cop type of character. And the idea is that, you know, you're in this dystopian future where you know, there's a huge amount of scarcity and there's just one huge mega city running the length from they say Boston to DC in this. And
massive amounts of crime.
Massive amounts of crime.
I mean, it's like the first of the movie. They can really only deal with about 6% of the crime. Like, they have this huge killing approved force that can barely even scratch the surface of what's going on.
But the crime all seems to be associated with poverty. Like,
that's
all
true.
of it is associated with poverty. So
How
it
like
is
life this is.
Yeah, it's a dystopia in which capitalism persists despite its destruction, and the two sides are constantly causing havoc for the people just trying to get by.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. There is
that,
a
again,
severe toll.
Very familiar.
Kind of does, doesn't it? It kind of does. Damn, man.
So I think that, though, this particular story is not an adaptation of any one Judge Dredd story. Alex Garland had tried a few different routes of, like, adapting certain stories, but ended up landing on doing a sort of one-shot story, which Judge Dredd also often has, that are just kind of slice of life, like what it's like being Dredd in any particular case. It reveals
that's what I liked. Yeah, I really like that about this movie. It is it's one day on the job with Dredd. The whole movie takes place over the course of one day. So
we're not setting up a trilogy. This is a movie. Yeah.
You also don't really need to know anything going into it. You don't really need to know what happens after the movie. Like, this is Tuesday. This is just Tuesday for this guy. That's it. I love that.
The exposition is like, a lot of it's told through action. A lot of it's told through just, like, us seeing what's happening, the interaction. Like, we're not being told during the movie, like, hey, the things Dredd is doing are in many ways equal to what Mama's crew is doing. Like, the movie never holds us by the hand to do that. No. But it shows us. It shows us what's happening. And it's like, oh, that is terrible. All these people are dying for no reason.
Right. A lot of the exposition, too, comes through the fact that through most of the movie, you know, Judge Dredd is taking a rookie out on this mission with him.
Right.
So he's explaining procedure to her.
Right.
But in reality, he's explaining it to the audience. So she makes a great foil for exposition and filling in the blanks of, like, what the fuck is going on here that we need to know as an audience if you're not already familiar with the comics and the world that it creates, such as myself.
Yeah. And so Carl Urban is doing... He is a fan of the Dredd comics, grew up reading the comics, and really wanted to stick very tightly to who Dredd is as a character. And so
hard ass.
He's doing a Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry impression.
Wow.
Because that's who he's based off of.
That's who he's based off of. Man, he's got the scowl. Like, you know, Kate and I were watching it last night, and it's like, it's kind of a shame that you got Carl Urban, who is fucking amazing, and he's doing this American-ass accent. He never takes the helmet off. But that's actually just being respectful to the source material. Like, it would be totally wrong if he took the helmet off and was being Carl Urban. Yeah, right? Like, apparently he did that a bunch, didn't he?
Yeah, it was barely on.
Oh, fuck me. So it's all wrong.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did that movie all wrong. Though, the thing is that, like, this movie captures the feel, the spirit, and the satirical angles while addressing the issues that the Judge Dredd comics did. But it didn't make as much money as the original, which is so sad because so much of the stuff in here, like not only the great performances, as we said, but like the effects, like there's a ton of practical stuff, like skinned bodies falling from high distances and pancaking on the floor.
Oof. Brutal.
Wild. Yeah. There's so much like cool practical stuff. They try to, just like I talked about with Annihilation. If you haven't heard our Annihilation episode, go check that out. But this is very much an Alex Garland production, though he is not attached as director. It's clear that this is a poltergeist situation in which, he didn't direct the scenes, but he made the choices and he made the final decisions and stuff.
Right.
And just, in the end, did not pursue a co-director credit, probably to just keep the peace. I imagine.
Which just kind of reminds you a lot of Poltergeist.
Yeah, which is also a good producer decision, even though it may be all his vision, largely, which Carl Urban said in an interview, like that he's the major creative, influence and director throughout the film. Yeah. To not try to take the glory for himself, because this would have been considered his first, his directorial debut, but he didn't actually shoot the shots, and I'm glad he didn't decide to take the directorial, a co-director credit. But he definitely, it's got Garland all over it, especially in here. Yeah. Like I watched the behind the scenes with a lot of the effects people and stuff talking, and it just reminded me immediately of the behind the scenes stuff of Annihilation, where all the effects people were just really playing up how collaborative he is, how much he just wants you to do the best thing you can in collaboration with all the other departments, and to just make it as interesting, artistic as possible. And that really comes through, right? Because there's so much cool stuff in this, the cinematography, awesome, the effects, awesome, that slow-mo effect they do, so good.
Oh man, I love those scenes, and the fact that this drug that everybody's hooked on makes it feel like time is passing at a tenth of normal speed, or whatever it is they say. That's a cool idea, and it's played out so well, and it's also played out in really horrifying ways, like how they dose those guys up with that drug before they throw them off the ledge, just to make the experience longer for them.
I mean, they just skinned them, so they're also experiencing being skinned. Ugh. Yeah,
dude, those shots inside a dude's head where you see him flaying that guy like he's butchering meat.
Brutal.
Fuck, man. Oh, yeah, so nasty.
Yeah, I think just like with Annihilation, what we get out of this is they made sure that all the spaces were real. Like when they're driving on roads, they're real roads.
Oh, no shit.
Background may be painted to add in additional buildings and whatnot, but it's Johannesburg, South Africa they're driving through.
And that bike is real, too.
The bike is real.
Carl Urban driving that bike.
And Carl Urban insisted on driving it, which is awesome. I love when somebody cares enough about the material to want to be as accurate and detailed as possible.
Well, from what I was reading, he would not take the helmet off between takes.
Right,
he was always with the scowl. He was very method with this character.
Yeah, not being a dick though. Listen, I'm cool with method acting, but it should not run into being a dick to your coworkers and stuff.
We'll call it Christian bailing it.
Right. He certainly because the good thing about the Dredd character, if you're going to be in it in between takes, is the Dredd character is a wry straight man. He's got great quips, but they're told so dryly that if you're not paying attention, you may not realize that Dredd is funny. Dredd is very funny. He has jokes, and the way that Carl Urban delivers everything, I feel like, is just perfect. He is really bringing the vibe.
Yeah, this super by the book, mega hardcore, fearless, just badass motherfucker.
And he changes over time, and he does it very subtly.
Yes, he does.
With real subtle facial movements, because he never smiles. Mm-mm. He never
He's
even
got that
gets to
bitch face for sure.
He never even gets to just neutral. It's always frown, but it's different types of frowns.
That's
sometimes
true.
It's a I'm impressed frown. He's impressed by Anderson at a certain point. He doesn't stop frowning, but you can tell he's impressed.
Yeah,
which is
it's
amazing.
the kind of frown you do when you go, not bad. Yeah. And it's fascinating, too, to see him emote that much, considering you can see 15% of his face. I mean, you can't even see his fucking nose, It's just the eyes are totally covered. Any kind of brow movement, everything's obscured. All you get is his fucking mouth, and that's it. That's all he can act with.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, and I'm so glad. Carl Urban, hope we never find out anything bad about him.
I know, right?
Because in interviews
cool
and stuff, he
man.
seems just like a cool guy.
Oh, yeah, and he chooses cool shit to be involved with, too. So, I'm with you. Hopefully we never find out anything shitty about that dude.
Right.
But he's not the only one killing it in this, man. What about fucking Lena Headey? I mean, everybody knows her as...
She's so good.
Cersei Lannister, of course, will be her eternal role that we associate with her. But, dude, she in this movie is hard-ass and takes no shit and is scary calm.
Mm-hmm.
She's not maniacal, zany, crazy. Even Cersei had moments where she was over the top, evil. She is so business in this. Mm-hmm. Her character, Mama. Dude, it's almost scarier, the fact that this just seems like this is just Tuesday for her too, same as it is for Dredd. There almost are no stakes. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I am very just impressed with what she's bringing, because we're talking about an absolutely gorgeous woman who loves roles where she gets to be the hideous villain.
Isn't that awesome?
She kills it. She's so good at it. And
she does, man.
Yeah, I think in this, she is deplorable, but also her background, you're I get it. And also, when you think about, just stop and think about what she did, it's not like she increased gang activity. She just put it all under her control.
Right.
What are we even splitting hairs for here? She's bad because now there's only one gang in this building?
Right.
I think very clearly the movie is showing that the bad thing is the war on drugs. The negative is that this can even happen. Because this, the fact that the drugs are illegal is creating all this violence and tension. So the movie is opening on this inter-gang violence, because she's killing these 3 drug dealers who've come on her turf. And that could have been it, right? That could have been it. It could have been 3 people dead, unfortunately, due to drugs being illegal. But no, because the judges have to, hand out judgments immediately and go on a killing spree or whatever, we get 102 dead people at the end of this.
Yeah. And a lot of them are just collateral damage, but then you get moments with our recruit. Is it Cassandra? Is that her name?
Cassandra Anderson. Yes.
Yeah.
Rookie.
With Cassandra, when she has to execute that one guy because he attempted to kill a judge, the sentence is death. So she shoots him in the head.
Right.
And then later on meets his wife and
and new baby,
really young baby,
and finds out that they had a happy life before she just ended his life.
Yeah. That's a moment that it gets real, and it wasn't until after the movie was over I was like, oh yeah, they never really followed back on that. It never went to, and then that wife got her revenge on the judge that killed her husband. Nope, it never circles back, because that is just collateral damage. It just gives you a taste of the reality behind it.
Right, and also, like, just, it could be easy for someone to say, well, he was out trying to kill judges, he deserved it. It's like, okay, if he didn't go out, Mama would have killed him and his wife and his baby. Probably in reverse order.
Yeah, true.
And so what? He had no choice. He's in a position where he has literally no choice. It's either just him get killed or his whole family get killed. And it didn't have to be even him get killed. Like, it didn't have to be. It's the worst. Like,
it's bleak, and I think, man.
Yeah, the movie's very much presenting just how bleak it is when you break it down to cops versus robbers. Like, it's not black and white.
Well, because even like at the end of the movie, whenever we do have that big final confrontation between Mama and Judge Dredd, and it kind of fizzles out of nowhere. It's like, I've got the whole building rigged to blow, and he's like, I'll just throw you off a building. And she splats on the fucking concrete, and that's it.
Yeah, and the radio can't reach the bomb. Yeah, I mean, it's a gamble, but it's also like, that is, Dredd sees two. He always sees binary, it feels like. He does change some through this movie, and he has a bit of a character arc. But to him, it's the building's going to blow up, or maybe if I throw her off here, it won't reach, and it won't blow up.
Yep.
So that's my one choice. I'm going with it. He goes with it immediately, no question, does it. It works, and just cuts back to him, and he just says, yeah.
Yep. That's about it.
Yeah, it's fucking perfect, too, because
Tuesday.
It's like, it's Tuesday to him, and it's also just showing us this slice of violence, like, where it's just like, oh, well, that's what that was. Like, so many people just died for this, and the judges aren't going to send somebody in to clean this place up, right? They're not going to establish programs to get these people out of poverty. Somebody else is just going to move in and do this.
Well, and
nothing
also
changed.
It's no real victory, because this is just a fraction of the crime that's going on in Mega City 1. Like,
exactly.
It's not
just
like he's
one
like,
building.
I beat the bad guy, the one person that was fueling drugs and violence and crime through this city. Like, no, he just squished an ant. That's what he just did.
Yep.
So there is no victory there.
No, there's none whatsoever. And I wish they had gotten to make more of these, because certainly they could have gotten more into the corruption among the judges, which we see a little bit here, and how the wealthy are taking advantage of the poor and stuff. There's definitely like so much that could have happened here. Unfortunately,
for sure,
didn't do well at the box office. I would attribute that to just the poor performance of the original and lack of brand recognition among Americans.
Probably soured people's taste for seeing another Dredd movie when they just saw that other one that sucked.
Yeah.
When did that come out?
94, I think.
Oh, so actually quite a lot of time had passed.
Yeah, some while. So a good bit of time had passed, but I think
it sullied the brand.
Yeah, and they had aimed the original Judge Dredd at like kids and teens, like, because it was in comic books a lot. It was like advertised a lot in comic books, and we were the generation that would have seen that original, and after seeing that, why would you then go out and spend your money on this?
Yeah. One thing you mentioned a second ago that I think bears exploring is the crooked judges that show up. We get like 3 that show up as backup, but they're also working on the side of the gang and immediately start trying to hunt down Dredd and our rookie Cassandra here. And something that took me by surprise about that is whenever those judges show up and they show their true colors and they start trying to kill our protagonist here, not one of them has any sort of sense of shock, of betrayal, of, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. What? You're working with them? That's impossible. You're one of us. You're a good guy. It seems like that is also extremely commonplace. Yeah.
Dredd and the rookie, Anderson, no hesitation in killing the other judge because they know that they're corrupt. And so they knew to expect it, which means this extrajudicial force essentially can go out, declare judgment, kill people, and if they want to be corrupt, because who's going to stop them?
It almost seems like if you set the system up that way, it might attract bad people.
Yeah, I don't know if you were to like look into the LA County Sheriff's Department, you might not find out that they have rival gang factions within them that fight each other.
Yeah, totally.
For control of turf.
That might be surprising to learn.
The police are a gang.
Oh man, I love that they dealt with it that way though. There wasn't any like backstabbing emotion attached to it. It's just
right.
If you scope out and think about it, well, yeah, that job would attract very bad people who are just going to take advantage of the impunity of being able to be judge, jury, and executioner. You're going to attract power trip people who are just in it for more power and more gain for themselves. So, of course, you're going to show up to work and one of your coworkers tries to kill you because they're a bad guy. It's not even a surprise.
Yeah, and we also find out from just a little line of exposition early on about Anderson that they regularly recruit orphans. So this is a situation in which these kids have lost their parents in a crime-ridden city, which is probably a large pool of children at this point. And then they're raised by the state to be the violent hand of the state. Wow. That's
how like life this is.
I mean, I kind of wonder what's going to happen with the COVID generation. Is that what we're going to get? Just a whole bunch of unquestioning, loyal zombie soldiers?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
I'll put it right there. I hope not. That'd be bad.
You know what? I'm going to go on your side and say I also vote I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah. I love how we don't get any background about Dredd.
No,
like there's nothing to know. He is the job. That's it.
Yeah. In the comics, I will tell you a little background that the comics actually occur in real time. So he has aged from the beginning in like 1977 to now. So he's like 80 something years old. And there was some storyline where he went through some sort of rejuvenation to make him younger again, obviously.
That's cool. But I like how we never get any background. We never see him wake up in the morning and make his cup of coffee. We never see him off duty having a beer with his buddies. It's like
I don't believe he does that. I believe he goes home and sits in his helmet until he has to go to work.
Until he gets to go to work again.
Yeah, he just sits in a chair. Probably actually stands at attention until he has to go to work the next day.
Right? Man, he's so committed and one-dimensional to the job. It's very similar to RoboCop in a lot of ways to me. Well, very similar.
Yeah. So we talked about similarities with Total Recall a little bit. So RoboCop is heavily inspired by Judge Dredd.
Right.
Very heavily.
Yeah. RoboCop is the American Judge Dredd, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that means Verhoeven knew his Judge Dredd. So Total Recall also has a lot of Dredd-ish similarities that then come out in this, and there's obvious reference back then to Total Recall. So like this is filmed in Johannesburg, which has a ton of 70s brutalist architecture, which we just talked about with Total Recall in Mexico City, which has a ton of 70s brutalist architecture. This world has mutants with psychic abilities. Total Recall has mutants with psychic abilities. Yeah. This world also has extreme violence, much like Verhoeven's Total Recall. But
we're RoboCop,
Yeah, and those are all coming from the Dredd comic book. So this movie may reflect some of the things that have come out of the Dredd comic books. Like he says at one point, you have 20 seconds to comply, like Ed 209. Yeah.
Yes, totally straight out of it.
So it's like all those things that took inspiration from Judge Dredd then incorporates and uses some inspiration from them. I love that.
It's cool. It's like paying homage to the things that paid homage to it because it came first.
That's really cool.
That's really cool, like full circle kind of idea, right? But then at the same time, it also reminds me so much with the fact that, the entire thing takes place in this huge building complex through the different floors of this building, fighting their way up to the top.
Yeah.
I mean, am I talking about The Raid right now, or am I talking about Escape from New York right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's definitely like so much cool influence, and also those probably taking influence from Dredd comics and things like that. So like it is. And also, you've just got that whole dystopian element where, like, it feels like so much of dystopian stuff stems either from Judge Dredd comics or the Mad Max movies. Like,
sure, it's got a Mad Maxy vibe at times too. Yeah,
exactly. It's got that going on too. So I think that like this movie does such a good job of distilling down not just what the Dredd like world is and who Dredd is as a person, but what an average day is like and how that reflects this whole world without ever having to do the full-on exposition and give us like, some character who tells us how we're supposed to feel about everything or whatever. This is doing it really like just matter-of-factly and just showing action and letting us understand what that action all is meant to convey.
And that action is violent as fuck.
Holy shit.
This movie is brutal.
Oh my god, it's so like, okay.
I think one of the first things he does is shoot that guy in the mouth with a flare.
Well, that's after we've just seen an absolute like unrelated pedestrian get fucking flattened by a speeding.
That's right.
And by the way, like that itself is a commentary, right? Like he's chasing these guys and it ends in a person dying, and it's like, was the chase ever necessary? This man died. But also, I just gotta say, pedestrians, I don't know when they stopped teaching this, but look both ways
yeah,
before crossing the streets.
Good thing to do. Yeah.
But again, it's I agree. Take back the fucking streets. We shouldn't have car culture. It sucks. But pedestrians also, just for your safety, you should look out for cars.
Oh yeah, definitely. Watch your neck out there for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, does it ever get brutal? And then like whenever it shows us just point blank unflinching shit, like after those guys have been, pushed from the high balcony in the building and they splat on the concrete, and Judge like pulls the sheet off of the face, and it's just this. It reminds me of like Halloween Kills when that dude jumps off the building and he's just mush and bone fragments.
Is brutal, and they show it up close because it is great practical effect once it's on the ground. So good. Yeah.
Man, some of the nastiest stuff in here happens during some of those ultra slow-mo scenes with the shootouts where it's showing the bullets just ripping through those people, man. It shows one guy that gets shot in the face and the bullet comes out his other cheek and you can like see his fucking teeth and jawbone through the hole.
Apparently they did a lot of like shooting research to just see what kind of damage different weapons cause, because they wanted to show that accurately. And it's kind of like I was talking about with Verhoeven last week during Total Recall, where it's like, it's unflinching. It's not Rambo. It's not people just like falling down or like, jumping to the side and now they're dead. Like it's showing what bullets do and how like just violent and terrible that is. It is not like, this
it's not like what you see in John Wick, where it's just like, cool, he beat the bad guys.
No.
It's like, no, he just tore a hole in somebody.
Right. At the end of this, I don't think we're supposed to be like, Dredd's a hero. Because Dredd changes in the movie to the point at the end, like at the beginning, he's black and white. She failed the test. She should not be a judge. She
lost her primary weapon. Yeah. She fails the test. And she does lose her primary weapon.
Right, but he sees that her way of compassion and really trying to understand is good for the judges. That like they need that. Mm-hmm. So he's changed by the end to the point he goes from black and white to, oh no, I've been doing it wrong, I think. But he never changes his expression, nor does he ever say anything like that. It's just that's the arc. Yeah, that's the arc the character has.
Yeah, he sees that there is a little bit of good in her. You know, she says that she thinks she can make a difference, and that's the reason she wants to be a judge.
Yeah.
And then he sees his own actions, and he sees these crooked-ass judges that try to kill them.
Right.
And I think he does see a glimmer of hope in her.
Right, yeah. I think that's like, you know, but it's, again, like, that all that is like, he has gained faith that the system, though broken, could be fixed.
Yeah.
Through people like her.
Right.
But she, at the end, clearly seems to be entirely disillusioned with the whole affair. Like, after she has to, you know, execute that one guy, and then finds out that, you know, it's
somebody's husband and dad.
Somebody's husband and the father to a newborn baby. She realizes, like, gosh, I don't know how I could make a difference. Like, what could she have done differently in that moment? Because at first when
she's not having a victory lap at the end of the movie.
No, but at first in that moment I was like, why did she do that? But then you pay attention, he has his hand on the gun with his finger on the trigger. Yeah. Like, he's saying he doesn't want her to shoot him, but if he doesn't want that, why is his hand on a gun with his finger on the trigger? He would put his hands up, right? So that's what I think disillusions her, is like, she doesn't want to do that. There's no reason for that to happen, but there's nothing else she could have done in the moment, and that's gotta be just like, it quenches that fire, that belief that you can change things. So you're right. It's not a victory lap at the end. It's not like, this is happy, this is good. It's that Dredd has become a little more hopeful, and she has become a little more cynical.
Totally, dude. The seesaw has totally evened out. It's like a zero-sum equation by the end. When she's like, I think I can make a difference, and Judge is like, yeah, I think that you can. But ultimately, she sees what making a difference entails, and she's like, I don't know if I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
Zero-sum equation.
Yeah, and you really just can't fix systemic issues on the ground. Yeah. You can't. You got to fix them at the root. You got to fix them at their core. And this movie is very much like reflecting all that, while also being, for anybody who doesn't want to find a message in a movie, it's just a kick-ass sci-fi action movie too, right?
Yeah. You could totally watch it as if you were watching a really sick playthrough of a video game. And this movie is very video gamey, as is The Raid and Escape from New York, as I mentioned earlier. They're very much level by level. Make it through this stage, beat the bad guys. Now you go up to the next floor on the elevator. It's that kind of thing. It has so many shades to me of like early PlayStation 1 shooters, specifically, dude.
Right.
And I know this will take somebody back. Did you ever play Loaded for PlayStation 1?
No.
Dude, I bet if I send you the cover, I'm going to send you a picture of the cover right now, because I bet you'll recognize it. So it was a grimy top-down shooter that was like super gory.
Okay.
And it had like, let me look it up here, PS1. It had like a cast of characters that were like very millennial, grimy characters. Like there was like a dirty, grubby clown. There was like a schizophrenic guy in a dress. Like it was all those kind of like old school, grimy characters, I guess.
Okay.
And it had like this booming like electronic soundtrack too. And this movie's soundtrack drives the fuck out of it. And it's very reminiscent of that kind of era of gaming to me. Yeah,
okay, I'm looking at it now, and this doesn't look familiar at all. Okay.
Yeah, grimy top-down shooter with like a lot of blood and gore and splatter and guns.
This looks like something a friend of mine would draw in high school art class.
Exactly. That's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, there's like a pirate guy with bones all over him and shit. Well, it is very much that. But it has strong video game vibes, and especially that soundtrack propels it for me. It's very like late 90s, early 2000s, really hard-hitting electronic and trip-hop sounding stuff that I think is fucking sick. I love the soundtrack of this. I meant to look at who did it, but I never got to that.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the soundtrack to me, like, the entire time, it really just, like, blended in the first couple times, and I had to, like, because, was watching it the third time, just really trying to pay attention to elements I hadn't thought of. I paid attention to it. Now, you're right. Like, it just fits. Each scene it's in, like, the soundtrack is just fitting perfectly. And, yeah, it does create that, like, video game vibe. And, like, in a very positive way. And, like, it doesn't feel like we're watching video game cutscene after video game cutscene, but...
Right, it's not that kind of shitty feel, right?
Right, yeah, but it does still just have that, like, survive the villain shooting 50 caliber miniguns at you for a minute and a half.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what else it's got. A goddamn old Bill Weasley in here.
Yeah, Donald Gleason
He's so good, man.
Yeah, he is. He's the unnamed, like, computer guy for the gang.
Hacker
and we
dude,
find out, unfortunately, he's just a pure victim. Mama just fucking scooped his eyes out. Well, exploded his eyes in his skull and then replaced them with these robotic eyes. And it looked like they maybe had force tattooed on his forehead mole as well.
I know. What was going on with that? It seemed like his entire role was very reluctant. I don't want to be here. He looked really sad and upset all the time.
Yeah. And our sidekick, Anderson, lets us know he isn't innocent. He's not done anything. So, yeah, it's sad, and Donald Gleason's great, and this, of course, would lead to... Garland and Donald Gleason working together on Ex Machina, which is a movie
amazing.
we'll have to do in the future. Because
God, it's so good. Alex Garland rules, man. Like, I've been a fan of this guy for so long, and I'm glad that more people are getting exposed to him now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude.
Yeah, so this movie, man, let me tell you something that, like, really hit hard for me. It's the slow-mo drug scenes. Like,
yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
So fucking cool. I love that everything has this glimmery, shimmery, like space dust kind of look, and these people are like clearly just in ecstasy, and the world is moving so slow around them while they're in this trip.
A Lisa Frank drug or something.
It is, right?
And
totally.
I want that. That sounds fun. Though the slow, like, I see how it would be fun in certain circumstances. Every circumstance anybody's using it in this movie, it does not look fun. Who would want to be using some slow-mo drug while being chased in the back of a car by the police? Like, what? Sounds terrible.
Not a performance-enhancing drug, right? I love, too, like, during one of the big slow-mo busts that they do, it shows the perspective of the people that are tripping, where you're seeing hinges fly off of doors in slow-mo and bullets move through the air. Yeah. And then there'll be like half a second of what's happening in real time to Dredd and Cassandra, and everything's moving so fast and it's so violent, and then right back to this super serene slow-mo effect. It's so effective to show you the two different states of reality the people in the scene are in.
Yeah, that bit where Mama is on slow-mo in the bath and she just raises up her hand.
Oh, yeah.
All those slow-mo scenes, they're shot, with slow-mo cameras. Like, this is not done after, but actually shot in slow-mo. And so you get, like, the little water droplets separating and, like, sheets of water just forming holes that separate into several droplets.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Like, gorgeous. And then also that, like, sparkle effect clearly comes back in Annihilation. Like, Garland clearly was like, I like that, let's bring that in.
Oh, dude, yeah, that Lisa Frank purple, green, white sort of shimmer that all this stuff has whenever you're tripping is absolutely there in Annihilation. Yes. And one thing that I wonder about, and I wonder about how good it was, and I also wonder about if it maybe affected the perception and revenue of this movie. All that stuff was in 3D initially, right?
Right, yeah, and that was a very, very like negative, especially in England. I believe it was only shown in 3D on the premiere date, and that drove people away because I don't want to see a fucking 3D movie. I'm not interested.
3D sucks. Yeah. Like, I know that we tried to do that revival kind of right around this time period where everything was coming out in 3D. Oh yeah, dude, it'll absolutely come back, but I remember by that time, 2012-ish, I mean, I was never really into it anyway. I was never like, oh yeah, we got to go see this in 3D.
Right.
I've had very few 3D movie experiences that I would say actually made the movie cooler. Like watching Avatar in 3D on a huge screen, yeah, it made it, easier to forget how fucking lame that movie is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Seeing Jurassic Park in 3D when they did that 3D restoration, that was kind of fun because I've seen that movie 80 billion times. So it was like seeing it a little differently. Other than that, though, I've not really had a lot of good 3D movie experiences. Now, that being said, maybe if I was watching this in 3D, with these shots being, suggested by Garland, who has such a great eye, maybe it would have made some of those trippy-ass scenes even more, mind erasing, really more immersive, so to speak.
Maybe. Honestly, yeah, like, there are times now where, like, we'll see something that could have been seen in 3D back in the day, and I'm like, I bet that was cool. Like, watching the whole thing in 3D, not for me. But that one moment probably really hit. So the slow-mo moments in 3D probably would have been really cool.
Yeah, and maybe some of the stuff where Cassandra's using her psychic abilities.
Right,
I like how they handled that
cool.
when you could tell when she was using her powers, where like everything else would kind of blur except for her face. Like maybe that was a cool effect in 3D, but yeah, I think ultimately just the choice to put it out in that format, especially exclusively in that format in the UK, probably held it back more than helped.
Probably would have had the biggest well of fans to draw from.
Yeah, you think?
Why are you driving people away with like forcing 3D on them? Yeah. I don't get that.
One of the only negatives about the movie that comes to mind is there's some CG blood in it. That's pretty obvious.
There's a little bit, yeah.
But man, the effects are pretty fucking good past that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are beyond that. And again, it's just like they did in Annihilation, where they're trying to combine as much practical effects and letting the CGI people see the practical effects early on so they know how to paint the practical effects in the final product.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. There's some CGI blood, but other than that, I don't really have any complaints about the effects. They're pretty great.
Well, and like the epic cityscapes, like those really wide shots where you just see this unending, smoggy, nasty industrial sprawl that is Mega City 1. Like this place is a fucking hellhole, and those shots are so convincing. That looks like Los Angeles 2139,
right? Well, and they shot on practical Johannesburg streets, and they just painted the background, to look like with all these huge mega structures. So that, I think, again, like just like I said with Annihilation, this is the way to use CGI is to just like work department to department to make sure you're all working toward a goal of making it look as real as possible. And when you do, it turns out great. Like there are definitely shots that I'm like, well, that's clearly CGI. It's 2012. Like there's definitely going to be some stuff that's clearly CGI. But most of the time you're seeing practical stuff. You're seeing, Carl Urban ride an actual motorcycle on an actual street. Like that's cool.
Yeah, totally. And it looks dope. And the editing choices are really, really good, too. Some of those fast edits and the action scenes. Yeah. All that stuff is put together really well. You mentioned that there was an edit that was kind of weird to you, right? I didn't catch this.
Yeah. Alex Garland did the final edit, and I think you're right. It's edited really well. But there's one edit that stood out as a little bit off to me, and that is when he comes in to the room after, he's made it up to the final boss room, and Mama has just put that little device on her arm that's going to detonate the bomb if her heart stops. And they've shot all the other guys, and Mama's there, and she's like, whatever. And then he, he knows he can't kill her, so he just shoots her in the side.
Yeah.
And then we go from that room where there were like weapons all over the place to now she's laying on a bed, and there's an Uzi nearby, like near her hand, and he's standing over her in the bed. And
where are we now?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I assume there was probably some stuff in between that they just cut for time and for expediency, but it was a little bit jarring to me.
Yeah. I'll have to watch that again whenever I see this movie for a second time and see if I catch that, because that does just sound like something got cut. There was a scene that was missing, something didn't get shot, but they had to get from point A to point C, so fuck point B, I guess, right?
Right, yeah.
But I mean, it's obviously not a big enough deal that I caught it, because I didn't notice.
Yeah. I don't think it is a big deal, honestly. The only other like major like element I think that really makes it work is that Olivia Thirlby is so like such a sympathetic character. Like she very much like wears her emotion on her face at times that lets you as a viewer who is seeing horrendous violence being perpetrated all over the place, that's the end, right? There's one person at least who is just not dealing with this well. And she does a great job.
Yeah, she does. She sells it very, very well, man. And the movie is just short and fast paced. It's like barely over an hour and a half. It's kind of what it needed to be to me. Like, I don't think this needed to be any longer than what it was.
Yeah, I just wish they could get a sequel somehow. Like Carl Urban.
Carl still looks great. I mean, he could still totally do it.
He'd be awesome. And again, that's what I said about Judge Dredd, is that he ages like...
He ages.
So like it's fine if he's a little bit older now. And also like Alex Garland, I think he's high enough profile at this point. He probably could get it made. So like, I'm interested.
Well, and this has developed quite a following too. I mean, there's a lot of people that love this movie. So
and then they should. It's really well done.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't really have a ton of complaints. It's a short, tight movie that just drops you right into this crazy futuristic hellscape. Doesn't give you a ton of exposition, but it shows you as you go along to help build that world and not leave you in the dust where you're just like, wait, what the fuck? We're in mega what now? Like, I never felt stranded. Like, I was kind of wondering if, with it just dropping us into this world and me not knowing the source material at all, I was wondering if it was going to get into that turf where you're like, I'm lost. I have no idea who this character is. I don't know why that person just did that thing. It doesn't just hold you by the hand the whole movie. It's not like it's doing a lot of, really dumb exposition to make it clear, hey, are you following the movie? I just want you to know this is where we are. It never does that, but I also never felt stranded.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. There's one more element I did just want to point out, just because I'm a huge Fallout fan, but the drug that they use, slow-mo, that is an inhaler, is I would say almost 100% inspired by the drug Turbo in Fallout, which is an inhaler drug that speeds up the player, or in Fallout 4 has a very similar slow time effect. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and again, I think that might be a case of the influence being influenced by the thing being influenced, because Fallout 4 changing it to like a slow time effect may have been a little bit of an inspiration from Dredd.
That's cool, man. That's pretty cool. Damn, dude. Fun fucking movie. I'm glad that I finally got to see this one. I can see why people had been telling me for a long time I needed to watch it. They were right.
Absolutely, they are. And if you've gotten through this entire thing and still are like, should I watch it? Go. Yes. Go watch it.
Absolutely, man. You got anything else you want to point out, or you want to slap a number on it and hit the road?
I'm ready to slap a number on it, hit the road. I think this is one of those films that certainly as a horror movie podcast, I don't know that I could argue this is horror,
right?
But it is gory, it is brutal, it is full of violence, but also making a point about that violence, making a point and really like satirizing the militarized police force and surveillance state and all these other absolutely terrible realities that we live in, and showing us that this as a dystopia is so wild to imagine. Like back in 2012, like, could you imagine this? And here we are in 2023 where it's like, yes, I can.
More clearly now than ever. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely I can. So it, very, very much like still relevant and really well done. I seriously have no complaints about any of the acting. Everybody is just doing such a great job with their character. Really seems to know, well, like, how their character would act and move and emote and everything. And I just think that, like, knowing that this, according to some, should be considered Alex Garland's first directorial effort is not surprising, having seen his other movies. Like, this, this is really well done. Yeah, really well done. Really well, like, put together. Very, very innovative and interesting. It's hard, as I said, as you just said, it's hard for me to think of anything that I dislike. Like, I definitely think, some of the CGI shows its age, but not terribly so.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, and just, like, one small editing blip that I wouldn't even have pointed out if I wasn't watching this movie 3 times over the past few days. Like, to me, gosh, boy, it's gotta be up there, right? Oh, this is a rough one. I'm thinking 9 to 9.5.
Yeah, pretty fair. I mean, if you got so little to complain about, man. I mean,
I really enjoy it. It's entertaining as well.
Yes,
even with the brutality and the stuff that is hard to watch.
Yeah, totally agree, man. I think I'll go a little bit lower than you. Maybe as I watch it more times, I'll come to love it even more.
Maybe
but just as a first watch, super fast-paced, quick, hour-and-a-half action flick with some cool stuff to say or cool stuff to not say if you just want to watch it get blown up and shredded by bullets. I'm going to go with like a 7.5, man. I think the vibe, the look of the movie, the things that they did practically, like the costumes and the motorcycles and shit, all look really fucking great. It's got an awesome aesthetic to it. And that soundtrack and that late 90s video game vibe, I fucking love. I love that shit. So, yeah, really solid flick, 7.5. Great suggestion to put that one in the old smoking bowl. Miles,
hell yeah, thanks, Miles. Yeah,
this movie will go for miles.
Miles, not only great taste in movies, great taste in beer, and always a good hang. Miles.
That's what they say about him.
That is. Listen, he should get that tattooed. Just in quotes, always a good hang.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. We'll suggest that. Thanks so much for putting that one in the smoking bowl. That was a really great watch. And you can also put a movie into the smoking bowl if you submit one over to our Patreon page.
That's right. Patreon.com/Dead and Lovely. Head on over there, become a patron on any level. You get access to our Patreon exclusive episodes. We just had the Home Alone Hell Rankers. Came out last week. Also, if you become a patron on a $5 level, you get to throw a movie into the smoking bowl like Miles did, and then we draw it from the smoking bowl, and then we cover that movie on the show.
That's right. Last episode of the month is always a Patreon pick, so the episode at the end of January, it could be yours. So don't delay. Sign up today. Also, follow us on all of our social media accounts that you can find on our Linktree page. It's the easiest way to track down all of them, and give us a follow on the Instagrams and our Facebook group, which is always a highlight of my day to check out.
Yeah.
So be sure to hang out with your boys on all them social medias and tune in to next week's episode. We're kicking off 20 and 24 with one that we've meant to do on the show for 5 years.
It was. I mean, it's one I've seen a few times, and also our buddy Brandon really recommended that we do it on the show. So it's time we get to Pontypool.
Pontypool. What a weird movie this is. This is a weird one, man.
Yes, I love it, and I'm very excited to get into like what it's trying to say about language.
Yes.
Which is, I let just a little spoiler. It's about language, but that's not a spoiler.
Right? It is. It is an odd one. I'm looking forward to watching it again because I think I've only seen it the one time.
It's definitely on rewatch. You're going to notice a lot of things that you didn't see the first time.
Yeah, nice. This will probably be a good one considering we'll have a lot of people that are probably holed up and snowed in and isolated by the time we get to January. You might just be feeling like you're in Pontypool yourself. So give that one a watch and tune into the next episode of the show, in which we'll break that down, and I will be Uncle Ben.
I will be Hollywood Steve.
We'll be Dad and Lovely. Thanks for a fun year of listens. And look forward to more.
Yeah, me too.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
All right, I got a bold new business venture that I'm looking for investors for. You ready to hear about this?
Yeah. I've got my money ready.
Okay, well, let me elevator pitch it. You ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
So I'm getting sick and tired of the grubby old ceiling fan that I got in my living room, right? I want to replace the thing.
Okay.
But anytime you go on the internet and you try to find yourself a new ceiling fan, you got to go to a Lowe's, you got to go to a Home Depot. I mean, any of these places that sell everything from ceiling fans to lighting fixtures to everything in between, nuts and bolts, right? It's just too much shit to wade through just so that I can get myself a nice little breeze going in my living room. I'm tired of having to wade through all that shit to find what I need. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. They have too much stuff there, and it definitely seems like you go there and now you're walking through an entire aisle of screws. It's like,
come on.
Where are the ceiling fans, man? Come on.
Exactly right, man. That's why I'm proposing we start up an online retailer website that is only catering towards people like myself who are looking for the perfect ceiling fan, and that's all you're looking for, okay? That's why I'm going to start up onlyfans.com.
Ooh.
You like it? It's right there in the name.
Okay.
OnlyFans.
Mm-hmm. And have you checked to see if this domain is available?
I haven't, but I mean, I think if I knew of another ceiling fans retailer out there, I probably would have heard about it by now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is in fact a website called onlyfans.com where a lot of hardworking people show off.
Are they selling fans? Oh.
No.
Oh, that's different. That's not what I mean at all.
Yeah. So maybe with a Z?
What about if I did the .net, onlyfans.net?
Okay, there you go. Yeah, .net. I mean, here's the thing. That looks a little trashy.
It kind of does when you do the .net. It's like, you couldn't spring for .com, really?
Yeah, or a .biz. Ooh, what?
Okay, yeah, that's just, it's not really the right look for the business.
Oh, okay, but you can get, like, .whatever now, right? Okay, so you're onlyfa.ns.
Oh, okay, onlyfa.ns.
This should
I
do
like
it.
That can work. Okay. All right. Well, I'm looking for investors, so if you're interested in investing in my OnlyFans, be sure to get in my DMs.